Welcome to a playthrough of Panzer North Africa. Welcome back. I haven't played Panzer for a while, or put up a video with Panzer for a while, I should say. And I thought what best to start off with our new game coming out, Panzer North Africa. It's a wonderful game. If you haven't seen some of the openings already, it's very good. I'm actually going to go through a playthrough with it and actually play it and show you a scenario. It's one I liked quite a bit when I played it during the play testing here, and it really came off quite nicely over here. And that scenario is going to be scenario 69. Let's move this up here. There we go. Scenario 69, Battle of Gazala, .171, south of Bir Hakeim, Libya, 27 May 1942. So this is with Rommel and the Afrika Korps' counterattack after the British and Commonwealth tried to reopen supplies to Tobruk back in May of 1942. And you can see the board in the background here. Just kind of go through a little bit of the setup here for you, give you the structure. This is going to be a solo game. I'm going to be playing the Germans and Italians, and the other side is going to be the Commonwealth, the British, over there. They'll be on the defensive. I will be the attacker, trying to dislodge them. So we're going to have 4 maps, as you can see in the background on the Vassal module, 34, 29, 30, and 31. Arranged lengthwise on our virtual table here. Love to get this one on the table itself. I just have many other games going on other tables, so virtual is the best. So we'll take a look at the map here in just a couple of minutes here. There's quite a bit of special conditions because it is a solo game. I'll be going through those as they come up across there. In the play of everything. So here's kind of the setup. We'll talk about that here in a minute and see there's a lot of special rules over here. But I wanted to talk about the length and the victory conditions and what's going to constitute a win or a loss. So for the length, 21 to 27, it's a variable game turns, as is typical with the solitaire version. We'll start rolling after so many turns to see if it ends. So kind of gives us either more or less when we're playing. Key victory locations are going to be the hills in the background. You can kind of see them off to my behind there. The hills over here that are constituting 8.14, 4.09, 3.05. Each one of them is worth approximately 450. That's the big one up here. 250 and 200 for these 2 smaller ones down here. I forget which one's which, but we'll take a look at those later. Okay. Plus, we'll get points for unit losses, and the required margin of victory is going to be 180 victory points for a substantial victory. Under that is just a regular victory for each side, and of course, if they do match at 0, it will be a draw. So let's take a look at the units that we're dealing with. So from the player's perspective, me controlling the Germans and the Italian forces, that will have the elements of 132nd Arite Armored Division, which are going to have 2 companies, 1 medium tank company of M1441s and some recons of AB41s. Then we'll have Berzlagoni, my pronunciation of Italian is not great, Berzlagiri. That'll be the infantry. We've got a mixture of infantry with light machine guns, engineers, heavy machine guns, mortars, and some Semo 75s to support the infantry over there. You may remember some of those from the Tobruk game, Avalon Hill Tobruk game back in the day. We'll have 4 of those coming on. Then for the German forces, we've got elements of the 21st Division, Panzer Division, Panzer Company, mainly Panzer III mixture, Gs, Hs, Js, some Panzer IVs, and some 231s recon vehicles. Also have an infantry company, mainly rifle units coming across here, as well as some engineer units, as well as a couple of support units down there, support guns there as well. So that'll be the units that I will control as the player. Then we have the Commonwealth forces, which are going to be kind of the solo bot, or come up per the solo rules, and they're going to be elements of the 3rd Indian Motor Brigade, as well as British 44th RTR, supporting infantry tanks. We do have some light artillery, and we're going to see about that. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. We've got the 1st Infantry Company, which is going to be a mixture of infantry with some support weapons, ATRs, mortars, heavy machine guns, as well as quick-firing 2-pound anti-tank guns. Now, we don't have specific quantities on here. Remember, all these will be rolled for when they're discovered. The one thing I'll have you take note here is the main enemy unit is the 2-pounder for the 1st Infantry Company. The 2nd Infantry Company pretty much looks kind of like the 1st in terms of the infantry component and the anti-tank component, but it also has some universal carriers armed with either ATRs, the boys ATR that is, and medium machine guns. Also the possibility of some 25-pounders showing up here too. And you'll see how that works out here in a minute. And then we have the Infantry Support Tank Squadron, that's the 44th, with some Valentines. They will come on as reinforcements, which I will talk about a little bit later. So that is all of our units that we have on there. Let's get rid of this. Take a look at the map. Map is fairly desert. It's pretty much straight desert. We've got a couple of low hills, which I mentioned before, over in here. And then we have a lot of rock formations, a lot of scrub formations, rock here, some gullies, some sand, soft sand here and here. This is all soft sand, some scrub, and some mixture of rock formations. We do have some tracks. Those are going to be important, at least from my perspective. There's going to be some tracks to help facilitate movement across there. So that's what the map looks like. The hills, as I mentioned, these are going to be victory locations here. You can see I've got victory points here, here, and here on there. So they're going to be key. And then you can see I've got some green and green over here, red over here, hidden units on here. The red signifies the 1st company, which we just talked about. The green signifies the 2nd company, which we talked about. And the tanks, the Valentine tanks, they will be signified by this line right here. This line of gray ones right there. Let me just add a line on there so you can see it. Right over here. That line signifies the crossing line, that if 5 German combat units get across here, German Italian combat units get across, that releases the tanks and they come on the board as reinforcements. So that can vary. Probably will happen later in the game, but it definitely will happen because we're going to want to take these hills. The other thing is, the units and where they're located. Given the 1st company and their locations, let's just kind of highlight. You can see here, we're going to be coming on the board this way. So the Germans are going to be advancing over here. Their first line of defense kind of looks like this for the 1st company. Pretty close to our board, so they're going to get some shots at us when we come on the board here with it. And then they have some pockets here, here, here of units, to kind of slow us up or stop us within here for the 1st company. Then the 2nd company, now these are the ones that have the 25-pounders and the universal carriers. They are set up here, 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 kind of isolated. Then there's a group of them down here. Another isolated unit here and here. Not really isolated, but by themselves. A couple groups here and here, and then our big group back up here with the 2nd company. So you can see, they've got some pretty strong positions to at least get some shots on us as we're progressing across here to try to take these hills. Now, from my perspective, I've kind of worked out my plan of attack, of what I'm going to do for this. I'm going to put that out here. Hopefully I can stick to it. Again, we will see how this goes, because with a lot of Panzer games, even with the solo games, what you plan for is not what you end up with down the road, if you've watched some of my other videos. So my plan is this. The German units are going to come on somewhere in between this block here. They're going to be coming off this edge right here. So they're going to be coming in this way, coming up the roads this way. I'm going to have them try to advance up the track. Now this is going to get tricky because they're going to get some shots off of here. Those anti-tank guns, the 2-pounders, they have a opening range of 9, or a maximum, I should say, maximum range of 9 for opening fire on us, well within this. So those main enemy units are going to take shots at us here, and I expect a loss or two as we come on the board. But hopefully we can get in here and discover whether they're real or not, because that's the other half of it. They may be fake, and we don't have to worry about them. If they are real, then we're going to have to address them and attack coming across here. But hopefully we get some fake ones, maybe a real one or two that we'll have to take on, and kind of go from there. So tank company comes on first, then followed by the Italian tank company, followed by the infantry on turn 2 in there. So hopefully by turn 2 we've got these discovered and maybe cleared out. We'll see. Then comes on the German armor, and infantry turns 3 and 4 after that. Now from here my plan is to actually split, and one group heads down the southern track and kind of loops around here, and taking on these units as they approach. So these guys will be taken on down here, hopefully got rid of them, again taking on each one of them as they come along, and then eventually coming down the tracks to here and then attacking up this way for the southern group. The northern group will come up this track and then come down here, once again engaging these units as it comes along. Hopefully gets to here, and then again using the track, because tracks are extremely useful, because the penalty for going off road is quite a bit. Slows you down quite a bit. The tracks can keep you moving. So I'm going to keep my lines of advance on the tracks as much as possible, and then move off when I need to attack the other positions. The other thing that's going to be useful about this too is hopefully they can be supportive. The two attacks can be supportive of each other, particularly when we get around to the second company. These guys could potentially come down here to attack, as well as these guys could potentially divert and go this way if need be. We'll have some options there as we go along with this. So that's kind of the plan of attack. We've got at least 21 turns to do it. Hopefully a little bit more to capture these hills, and we'll see how it goes from there. So I'm going to be filming this roughly 1 turn per video. I meant to string those together so that when you see the final product, it'll be maybe 2-3 videos to make up one on there. So you get a good flavor of the action, at each point in time, across there. I've got most of them built out now, or played out, I should say. I just need to edit them and put them up like I'm doing now and get them out there for you. And I'm going to try to do this on a regular basis. Drop this one today, and within the next 2 days, 2 to 4 days, I should have the next one, and keep kind of that same cadence or rhythm to the videos and when they come out, so that you can see it. So you can kind of digest the first one, then you'll get the second one just in time after you've gotten done with the first, and then kind of go from there. So if you like it, please subscribe, because I will be putting this into a playlist, so you will be able to get all of these and look at them all at once, or just kind of go back to the playlist and pick up where you left off within there. So with that, I hope that you'll enjoy this, and we'll get on to the first turn. Okay, welcome back. We're on to turn 1, and giving you a show of what's going to happen here. So I've lined us up with the left edge of the board. This is where the Italians, I was going to say Germans, but Italians are going to come in first. It's going to be the tank companies first. So that's going to be the M14s, 41s coming on here, as well as some recon units, the AB 41s right here are coming on here as well to try to discover these guys. Now, as I said in the setup video, it could get pretty interesting here because these guys are close enough to take shots at these guys as they come on board, and they won't be able to respawn. So it could get interesting. So I'm going to go through, step by step through the sequence of play and step it through so you can see all this stuff, and then I'll wrap it up at the end. So let's get started here. So we're on to turn 1. Units are over on the side. Other units are over here. So let's get going. So first thing is our spotting phase. Right now there's no spotting. We're not on the board yet. Can't spot if we're not on the board either side. So there's no spotting. That's easy. We'll come to the command phase. This is going to be fairly easy as well for the friendly player. That's me. So I'm going to start setting up my commands. Now, a couple things to note on this is that the recon units each get their own command. I am playing with the advanced command rules, so they each get their own command. That's pretty easy. But then the M14 41s are only going to get commands based upon the command table that I've put up here, and that's going to only be 5 commands for these guys to use. So we're going to have to group some of these together to get them on the board. So, and I think that's it. Actually, it was 6 commands. Sorry. So there we go. So now with the enemy units, the Commonwealth units, as I abbreviated with CW here, they will get commands when an action is taken. What an action is, that's when they get the position of potentially Overwatch firing on us, or they get to fire, or they get to move. Then we'll actually roll. In the standard solo rules, they you'd place the commands over there, but I like this a little bit better because it gives a little bit more of a fog of war from my perspective in terms of what these guys are going to do, because they may fire or they may not. I don't know until that time. So we'll see that coming up here very shortly. So commands are set. We'll go down to the initiative. Now with this scenario, there is a +20 for the Italians and Germans. For the initiative, I got to roll higher than 50 to win the first player, or I should say win the first choice of the first player, or not. So let's see how I do. So 50 or greater is needed. Roll a 27 plus 20 is 47. All right, so the British get the initiative, and they'll be the first player. Okay. So we come to the combat phase. First thing is the indirect fire. We are going to have indirect fire in the game, but it's not going to happen until actually turn 2. I made a bad note there. There's a couple of indirect fires we'll have. This will be some pre-planned fire coming in from the British, as well as some called-in fire from the British. That starts on turn 8. So direct fire from the Commonwealth perspective, there is none. Nothing to shoot at, not on the board yet. And from my perspective, same thing. So now we'll go to the move phase. Now I'm the second player at this point, and that means I'm going to actually move first. There's also the close assault hand-to-hand, which obviously there is none. We're not in a position to do that. And then we'll actually go first. So here we go. Now we'll get some action moving. So here we go. I'm going to take one of these moves, and we're going to move on one of the, I think it's actually going to be 2 in the end, but we have to move these one at a time. So this will be one M14 41 coming up the track. I'm gonna keep them on the track just because the the movement bonus and getting them down the roads, down the tracks, are so much more advantage. So much more advantage to that than going cross country over here. So we're going to have them come on the track. So they're going to come here. Now at this point, these units can spot them. Okay. And you're going to see I'm going to do a spotting range over here. You can either get a range of 9. That is within their firing range, because their maximum range to engage is medium range. So if we go over to our main unit, which is going to be our 2-pound gun, you can see their medium range is 9. So they can hit us right as we come on the board. So that's going to be a little bit of a problem for us. So let's see what happens. So he's got the range. He spots him, of course, and he's going to fire at the maximum range. Checking for his command to see if he's actually going to fire. Gets +10 for his defensive posture. Rolls a 27, +10 is a 37, and that means he's going to Overwatch fire at us. I want to say op fire. If I say that, I mean Overwatch as we're going through here. So it's an Overwatch command on there. He's going to actually open fire as that main unit. So the hidden unit there at X6 fires at 111. Medium range, small target, and moving modifier. So a final to hit of 35 or less, excuse me, not greater, less. 73, that's a miss. That's good. All right, so that also makes something interesting over here, because now we can potentially spot them. What I didn't say before is that we couldn't see him over here because he was hidden, and he is in a medium cover hex over here as well. So that's going to drop his spotting range down too. So we couldn't see him until he fired. Now he's fired, so that gives us a +3 spotting modifier. With the -2, now makes it a +1. So now we can spot him at a range of 15 hexes. So we actually see him there, and we're going to check to see see if he activates. See if there's anything there. 79. It's fake. Nothing there. So that's good. They shot at us, but there's nothing there. And this is one thing that gets people, and I've talked with them about it, is on the solo rules. How can something shoot at you not being there? And this is kind of the fog of war aspect to these solo rules. You don't know where the shots are coming. It could have come from one of these others over here or up off the board if it had actually hit me, but it didn't, so nothing there. So we continue on. So we'll move up one more hex, and now this guy can spot me. He is now going to see me, and now has a chance to take a shot. Rolls a 16 plus 10 makes 26. That's a fire, and he's gonna have pretty much that exact same shot at him. Medium range, small target, moving, less than 35. This time rolls a 16, so that's a hit. So that's a hit on this tank right here. So now we roll, or we check if the penetration equals the damage, or excuse me, actually check for multiple hits, and there wasn't any, because the main unit there is a quick firing gun. If I bring back this for a second, you can see he's actually ready to fire a Q, which means quick fire. And if he had rolled low enough, he would have gotten 2 hits on the tank, as opposed to just 1. But he's got 1 hit, which may be good enough. We'll see. Now we check for location. That's actually coming in on the front side. So you can see here, we're going to roll on our location chart, and that's going to get us a 1, which is going to be turret front. Okay, so that's turret front. So on there, that's going to be a armor of 10 with a penetration of 10. So now I'm just going to double check for variable penetration. This is an optional rule, but it's very useful in cases like this. This is right on the edge, whether he gets through or not. So I roll a couple of variable penetration rolls, and that winds up being a 0 modifier. So stays at 10 of 10, 10 against 10, so he's damaged somehow. So now we're going to check for damage. We roll a 5, and it's a turret hit. So he's hit on the turret, and we're going to check for bailout. Well, first I'm going to put damage on there. There we go, turret hit. Check for bailout, less than 30, and rolls an 18. So first tank in, he's not liking this at all. They jump out, or they get hit. Turret hit, they jump out. They're heading back to the lines, and that's that. Now, one thing that's interesting on that, this tank, as it's been hit, but it hasn't been destroyed. KO, knocked out, or BU, brewed up, would destroy them. In this case, he bails out. The bailout does not count towards the victory condition, so they do not get points. The Commonwealth player does not get points for that. Okay, so but it does count against my commands, and it does count against my morale. I am playing with morale rules as well, so that'll affect me going forward. So anyways, he's moved. I'm just going to put the marker up there, and now we got the second tank coming, and he's still out of range, but he's going to keep trundling along the road here. Oh, I was checking up here just to see what the range is. He's out of range. He can't see him, or he can't hit him, I should say. So he's got to move up a couple more hexes before he can be seen. He's at 10 right there, and he's at 10, so he's still got to keep moving. And at this point, one of the things I missed on here, and I do make this up a little bit later, is that I could have taken a spot on this one because he has fired, which again, as I explained before, he would actually now be within spotting range of him. We correct that a little bit later. So now we're in range of this other hidden unit down here. He's 9 hexes away. So, and he's 10, so the 9 hex guy is actually going to let him come forward a little bit. And then this is where I check to see about this guy spotting him now at this point. So this is where I make the correction. Checks for activation. Again, he's a fake one as well. So somewhere over here, somebody knocked out this other one, but right now it's ghosts rather than any real units. Now, Hex U2, which is this guy down here, he's now within range. He's going to take a shot. Checks his command. 45 plus 10 makes 55. So that's a fire order, which turns into an overwatch for defensive. So now he's at medium range, pretty much the same as before. This is an M14, 41. He's at medium range, small target, moving. It's going to be a 35 or less. Rolls a 27. Not another hit. Okay, ouch. There's no multiple hits because the 27 wasn't low enough. Check for the location. It's going to be on the front, but we're going to check our table as I showed before. Rolls a 7, which means that's going to be a hull front. So hits him on the hull this time. Penetration is 10 versus an armor of 6. No variable penetration roll because the plus minus factor on that is 2. So the armor, can't get up to 10 or higher than 10. So we're going to go straight to check damage. And we roll a 6. And he has a damaged hull. All right, we're going to check for bailout again. Let's see what happens to these guys. They roll a 7. All right, they're getting hit by ghosts and they're running, but it's kind of typical. These, as I said before in the intro, these are troops that are regular quality. They're slightly below average, so they do have a tendency of not wanting to stick around once the action occurs. So they bail out. So now we move on to 113, see what he does, and he'll be able to come on board and check for this guy spotting now, because he definitely is within range. It's 15 hexes, and I think this is let's just do a little string test here. This is this is 15 or 13. Oops, excuse me. Come on, get off of there. There we go. So he'll be able to see him. checking to see if they're real units. They are. Checking for the type is going to be 3 units in the area there. So now I'm going to roll for the units themselves. We'll get through this. First one's going to be a rifle ATR. This is going to look like, so their first roll was a rifle ATR 39 right on here on there. So the next roll is going to be a 8, which this is going to be a 2-pounder. Getting the ATR on here, I'm positioning him. And now the second one is a 2-pounder. Checking for the location of that is there. And the third one winds up being a, oh, I have a problem there. Come on, get in the right spot. There we go. Second one, third one turns out to be another 2-pounder, which is going to position right here. There we go. They're all Overwatch fire over here. So now the tank moves up again. I'm going to move them down the road to take on those units. It's not looking good though. 2 2-pounders and an ATR sitting right there. But this, just to highlight here, this kind of shows, or this kind of worked out nicely because it shows the fact that there were no units up here, but we've got a lot of units down here, and those are the ones that have hit these units that were coming in here first. All right, these are the ones that actually hit them first and knocked them out. So kind of nice the way that worked out with the solo rules there. So next one is going to come on, or next 2 I should say, going to come on. They're going to come off-road because they need to help deal with that unit, or those units to the south over here. And so we've got 2 units right over in here, and now we bring on our recon units, these AB-41s. So they're going to come up the track like so, trying to stay out of range of the guns, but they don't, and actually he's hit and he's knocked out. That's not good. And next one coming on comes over there, comes over there, and he actually spots and finds that there's nothing there. All right, so even though he's been hit, just rearranging here, there we go. Even though he's been hit, there's actually nothing there. Again, that could be shots from these guys to the south that had shot up through here, that actually took him out over here. Because remember, there's 3 units, and they have actually fired because they fired with that other turn. But a little bit of, you know, I don't want to say guesswork, but a little bit of kind of working through the mystery, the fog of war aspect of it. But these units could conceivably have knocked that other unit out that was up here. And you know, even though these guys are still farther away, you know, they are still vulnerable to being hit by these guys over here in our kind of simultaneous environment that we're working in. Okay, moving on here. Now we've got some more. This is the command tank moving up and his crew. This is our command tank right here, number 100 and 101. And they're moving up the road. And then we've got our other recon units coming up here. And trying to keep them just out of range. I want to try to keep the recon units alive as long as we can. Otherwise, we're not going to have their bonus, because these recon units get a +1 for spotting. So they can be beneficial in terms of reducing or increasing the range to be able to see these guys. So I'm trying to keep them alive as long as I can. They tend to be very vulnerable though, and gets a little bit tough. So there we have it. We've got the battalions on the board. We've taken a couple of losses. We've actually taken 3 losses over here as we've come on, but actually only one of them was a KO. Yeah, I kind of went through that quickly, but only one of them was a KO up here, so that counts as victory. But the 2 bailouts don't count against that. But I'm still running a little bit of a deficit with just coming on the board. Could have been a lot worse. There's a lot more dummies over here, or fake units, than there could. If I've played this, when I played this a couple other times, I've had real units up here and real units over here, and it just can get pretty messy for these lead tanks, these M14 41s, to get on the board. But we got them on the board. Next, we've got the British move. So now what I'm going to do for all these other units up here that are hidden, we're just going to go through and check to see if they have either a move command or a entrench or a full cover command. Again, on the sheet here I'm showing on the side, you can see the numbers coming up here, and I'm just walking through pretty much all of those for the first company. That's all of our red numbers over here. And actually, let me zoom out. I'm not pointing out which ones there. That would take too much time. But basically, all our reds I've just gone through, and yeah, we don't see anything that's either moving or entrenching. So now we'll go to the second company. Those are our green numbers over here, and just starting up here and just walking through all these units. I'm just going to see what they're going to do. So I'm rolling here, and nothing much going on. So there's no move commands for the second company over here. So we go to the adjustment phase, checking for pivots. That would be pivoting the guns down here, but they're already pointed in the right direction, so that's fine. I'm going to check for my I'm going to put turrets over here. Let me zoom back in a second. And come down here. I'm going to put turrets on my command tank, and they're going to pivot their turrets to face those guns that were shooting at us before. So they're going to go over here, and now they'll be pointed in that general direction. That's the turret adjustment. There's no full cover. That only applies to my side. There's no suppression at the moment, and we just remove the command markers. Okay, so there we have it. Just a real quick run through of the turn. Kind of glossed over a lot of the detail on there, but I just wanted to show you getting on the board and keeping them together. A couple things to point out with this, which is really key for tactics, because if you watch my other videos, I'm really keen on the tactical side of things here, is our commands and watching our command radius and making sure our tanks stay within the command radius here. That's going to become important. Protecting our command tank is also going to be important, but also using the command tank to support the units in attack. So in this particular situation, this unit right here, our command tank is positioned behind our main line of attack tanks. That's these guys here and this guy over here going after these guns. So they have a chance to go after them, but they get supporting fire from this guy back here, and we'll see that in turn 2. Also, I have these guys up here and here that are going to try to flank, but I've got to be careful. I can't get them too far away because command radius, and it's only 7 hexes, is going to be kind of tough. So 7 hexes coming out from here is just out to that point right there. So they can't really go much beyond there unless this guy moves and sets up. Otherwise, I'm going to lose commands due to this. The other thing is with the recon units, they operate independently. That's another good reason why to try to be conservative with them. They operate independently. They don't need to be in the radius, and they get their own commands, so they can pretty much go wherever they want. But again, they're pretty vulnerable. If you start losing them, you're gonna lose your eyes and not be able to see anything. But I've positioned them up here. They might try to get out and around over here too to spot, as well as try to get this guy spotted up here as well, because I want to try to get these roads open, particularly this northern one, because if I go back over here to the zoom out, you can see there's only one unit up here now between us all the way down to here, and these units here we're going to have to fight, but you can see once we get past them, it's going to be the next units are going to be over in here. So I want to try to keep these guys together, keep them fighting. These guys have to fight. Why? Because on the next turn we've got the infantry coming in, the Italian infantry, that are going to get hammered by these things if we don't knock these things out pretty quickly. So we got to knock these things out, get them knocked out of there as soon as we can. And then we've got the Panzers and the German infantry coming on board. So we'll try to get them in position there too on subsequent turns over there. But that's our turn one. Pretty interesting, I think, if I zoom back in here. And I kind of like this as it developed, because these front guys here knocked out a tank, but there was nothing there. But the real ambush was actually down here. So this kind of gave me a fog of war to say where the heck these guys were, and I didn't discover it until my third tank came in here and was able to figure it out. And even then I was still taking shots up here there as well. So this does give me something to think about in terms of how I'm going to decide how my units are going to position and where they're going to go and what they're going to do. So that's it. Turn one is done. So I thank you for watching, and hopefully you enjoy this, and hopefully you watch and subscribe to the future videos. Like I said, they're going to be coming out every couple days or so here till they get the scenario played through. So hopefully you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Bye.